Earlier today, during a segment on First Take, Stephen A. Smith read a text he received during the show from someone very close to the situation that said Ben Simmons, quote, doesn't work, doesn't listen, and everyone around him is family, and he's constantly babied. You can imagine how that's playing out in Philly. Sixers VP Daryl Morey will have a very busy offseason trying to figure out the next step. Michelle Steele has more in tonight's SportsCenter report.
It is a stunner in South Philly.
Not so sunny in Philadelphia. 48 hours after a devastating Game 7 loss at home, Ben Simmons' love is hard to find.
I've never been more embarrassed for an athlete in my life watching sports, more than I did Ben Simmons in this series.
I'm still stunned sitting here that we didn't win the Game 7 at home.
Sixers president of basketball operations Daryl Morey facing lots of questions about the team's max contract point guard who was MIA offensively from the field and the foul line.
Can you tell us that Ben Simmons will be a 76er next season?
Not addressing Ben Simmons, but any move that will help our team win the championship or improve our odds, we will look at and do if it makes sense.
This wasn't the process Sixers fans envisioned. Question marks surrounding a young, talented core after another second-round exit. But whether Morey makes an aggressive move following a playoff flameout for one of his star players will be a storyline for the rest of the offseason.
Ultimately, you win or lose mostly with your players. It's my job to get the best players. We didn't have quite good enough players. We've got a good foundation. We just have to do better. I have to do better. Everyone has to do better.
When asked how Simmons could get better at the line and as a shooter, Morey said that head coach Doc Rivers and Simmons spoke, quote, for a long time about it and added that everybody needs to figure out how to improve. I'm Michelle Steele for ESPN.
NBA insider Brian Windhorst joining us now on SportsCenter. Wendy, what's the biggest challenge for Daryl Morey with regards to Ben Simmons, his future in Philly here?
Well, Kevin, he's got to protect his value, which is why he was very cautious in his words today. Regardless of how he truly feels, he can't come out and say anything that would imply that he wants to trade Ben Simmons, because the challenge is going to be, even if he decided to come to that, where is there going to be able to get for him if he's coming off this situation where he's had just the worst moment of his career? In talking to executives around the league, there's a lot of interest in Ben Simmons. If he was made available on the market today, there would be maybe up to a dozen teams that would make offers. But it's the quality of those offers that Daryl Morey is going to have to worry about. And he's going to have to be very careful with his behind-the-scenes move and his public statements not to show that hand and potentially give away what their position is going to be.
Wendy, you mentioned behind the scenes. So what role does Joel Embiid play here?
Potentially a very large one. Joel Embiid is under contract, but he is eligible for the Supermax contract extension this offseason. That's 5 years, $200 and approaching $30 million. But before that conversation can take place, you know that Daryl Morey is going to come to him and discuss the future of the organization. You do not sign your franchise player to a contract like that before having frank discussions. The same situation happened in Houston when Daryl Morey was running that team and James Harden signed the Supermax contract as they examined opportunities to change their roster. So Joel Embiid will have an opportunity to weigh in on what needs to be in the future. Whether Daryl Morey takes that into account or not, we'll have to wait and see.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.